Before you begin chasing success, before you run after degrees, jobs, or approval, I want to ask you a question that most people never stop to ask themselves. What if the very thing you are running away from is the thing that will shape you into someone extraordinary? What if failure, which you fear so deeply, is not an enemy, but a quiet teacher waiting for your attention? You have been told again and again that mistakes must be avoided, that falling behind is dangerous, that being different is risky. But I want you to pause and consider this truth. Nothing meaningful is ever created by someone who never failed, never questioned, and never imagined beyond what was visible. Many young minds believe that innovation is reserved for geniuses, for people born with special talent, for those who come from powerful backgrounds or elite institutions. You may believe that creativity belongs to a selected few and that the rest of the world is meant only to follow instruction. But this belief is the first limitation you must break. Innovation does not begin in laboratories or boardrooms. It begins in the human mind, especially in minds that are curious, restless, and courageous enough to ask why not. If you feel confused, uncertain, or even afraid about your future, I want you to know that these feelings are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your mind is alive and searching. Today, I want to walk with you as a mentor would, not to impress you, not to instruct you from a position of authority, but to guide you gently toward a deeper understanding of your own potential. By the time you reach the end of this journey, I want you to feel lighter, clearer, and stronger. I want you to understand that innovation is not about inventing machines alone, but about inventing yourself again and again. You will learn how failure can be managed, how imagination can be trained, and how a simple life guided by discipline and purpose can create extraordinary impact. Most importantly, I want you to realize that your background does not define your destiny, but your mindset does. When I look back at my own journey, I do not see a straight path. I see uncertainty, struggle, and moments where the outcome was unclear. I was born in a small town called Rameswaram, a place where the sea teaches patience and the sky teaches humility. My family did not have wealth, but we had values. My father was not a man of many words, yet his silence carried wisdom. From him, I learned that integrity is not something you display when people are watching, but something you live even when no one notices. From my mother, I learned that generosity does not depend on how much you have, but on how much you are willing to give. As a young boy, I sold newspapers to support my family. At that age, I did not see myself as poor or disadvantaged. I saw myself as responsible. Every morning, when I delivered newspapers, I observed people, routines, and life in motion. That small experience taught me something very important. Dignity comes from effort, not from position. If you feel embarrassed by your current situation, if you feel your background is too small, remember this. The size of your beginning has nothing to do with the size of your destination. What matters is the sincerity with which you move forward. Education entered my life not as a burden, but as a doorway. I was deeply curious about how things worked. Physics helped me understand the laws of nature, and aerospace engineering helped me imagine how humans could move beyond limitations. But knowledge alone does not create innovation. Knowledge must be combined with imagination and sustained effort. I learned that when you imagine an outcome clearly and work toward it consistently, unseen forces begin to align in your favor. This is not magic. It is the natural response of the universe to a focused and inspired mind. One of the most defining moments of my life came during the SLV-3 mission at ISRO. The mission failed, and the satellite could not be placed into orbit. The nation was watching, and disappointment was heavy in the air. As a young project leader, I felt the weight of that failure deeply. But what happened next shaped my understanding of leadership forever. My senior, a true leader, stepped forward and took responsibility for the failure, protecting the team. When the mission later succeeded, he stepped back and allowed the team to receive the credit. That moment taught me that leadership is not about claiming success, but about absorbing failure and transforming it into learning. Failure, my young friend, is not meant to define you. It is meant to refine you. Problems should never become the captain of your life. You must become the captain of your problem. When challenges rise, do not surrender control. Stand still, observe, and respond with courage and clarity. Innovation is born when you refuse to be intimidated by obstacles and instead choose to engage with them intelligently. I have often said that every youth wants to be unique. This desire is natural and powerful, yet the world around you works tirelessly to make you just like everyone else. From the moment you step into a classroom to the moment you enter the workforce, you are measured, compared, and categorized. Conformity is convenient, but it is never fulfilling. The real challenge of your life will not be competing with others, but defending your uniqueness without arrogance and without fear. History does not remember those who played safe. It remembers those who dared to imagine the impossible. Scientists, artists, thinkers, and leaders who changed the world all shared one quality. They broke the limits of their imagination. They were not afraid to think differently, to question accepted norms, and to persist when others doubted them. Creativity is not an accident. It is the result of learning, thinking, and sustained curiosity. Learning fuels creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking builds knowledge. And knowledge, when guided by humility, leads to greatness. Teaching has always been close to my heart because a teacher has the rare privilege of shaping minds at their most vulnerable and most powerful stage. I remember my own teacher whose presence alone radiated knowledge and purity of life. From him, I did not just learn science. I learned how to think, how to dream, and how to live with purpose. A good teacher does not create followers. A good teacher creates thinkers who may one day surpass the teacher. That is not a loss. That is fulfillment. Integrity has been the compass of my life. Every action of a leader must be transparent, honest, and rooted in values. Success without integrity is temporary and hollow. True success is achieved when your achievements do not conflict with your conscience. I traveled across the nation, meeting millions of people from all walks of life. And I learned that greatness is not confined to titles or positions. It exists quietly in ordinary people who live with honesty, discipline, and compassion. When young students ask me how to become successful, I never give them shortcuts. I tell them this: you must have a dream, not a vague wish, but a clear vision that keeps you awake at night. You must continuously acquire knowledge, not only from books, but from life itself. You must be willing to work hard, even when results are delayed. You must practice perseverance, especially when progress feels slow. And you must not be afraid of problems, because every problem carries within it the seed of growth. There is an old thought that says when there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in character. When there is beauty in character, there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. This is not poetry. It is a blueprint for life. Change does not begin in governments or institutions. It begins in individual hearts and disciplined minds. If you are listening to me today, unsure of your direction, uncertain about your ability, or worried about your future, I want you to know that your journey has meaning. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your learning needs to begin. As you move forward in life, you will often be surrounded by noise. Opinions will come from every direction telling you what success should look like, how fast you should achieve it, and who you should become. This noise can confuse even the strongest minds. In such moments, silence becomes your greatest ally. Silence allows you to listen to your inner voice, the one that knows your strengths, understands your struggles, and gently reminds you of your purpose. Innovation grows in silence because imagination needs space to breathe. Many young people fear failure not because it hurts, but because it exposes them. Failure makes you visible in ways success does not. It shows your effort, your intent, and sometimes your vulnerability. But let me share something important with you. Failure is never final unless you decide to stop learning from it. In my own journey, every setback became a classroom. Each delay refined my patience. Each rejection strengthened my resolve. When you begin to see failure as feedback, fear loses its grip on you. You may feel pressure to choose a career quickly, to settle on one identity, one definition of success. But life does not unfold in straight lines. Your interests will evolve. Your understanding will mature. Allow yourself the freedom to grow. Innovation requires flexibility, not rigidity. A rigid mind repeats patterns. A flexible mind creates possibilities. Give yourself permission to explore, to make mistakes, and to change direction when necessary. One of the most powerful lessons I learned was the value of discipline. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. when you wake up early to study while others sleep, when you practice consistently without immediate reward, when you choose long-term growth over short-term comfort, you are building a foundation that will support you for life. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline determines how far you go. Simplicity has always been my companion. A simple life reduces distractions and clarifies priorities. When your needs are few, your focus becomes sharp. When your desires are controlled, your mind becomes free. Innovation does not require luxury. It requires clarity. Many of the most transformative ideas in history were born in modest spaces by people who valued purpose over possession. I have met countless young minds who believed they were average. They measured themselves against others and concluded they were not special. But let me tell you something with certainty. Average is not a permanent state. It is a temporary label applied by comparison. The moment you commit to learning deeply, thinking independently, and working persistently, you rise above average. Greatness is not inherited. It is cultivated. Confusion about the future is not something to be ashamed of. It is a natural phase of growth. When you do not yet know your destination, focus on strengthening yourself. Build skills, build character, build resilience. Direction becomes clearer when capacity increases. Do not wait for clarity to take action. Action itself creates clarity. There will be times when you feel small, especially if you come from a humble background. Society may remind you of what you lack. But remember this, the human mind does not recognize social status. It recognizes effort, curiosity, and belief. Some of the brightest minds I have encountered came from villages, small schools, and limited resources. Their strength was not privilege, but persistence. Innovation also requires empathy. When you create something new, you must understand the needs of others. Technology without compassion becomes cold. Knowledge without values becomes dangerous. True innovation improves human life. It reduces suffering, increases opportunity, and builds harmony. Always ask yourself not only what you can create, but why you are creating it. As you grow, you may be given opportunities to lead. Leadership is not about authority. It is about responsibility. A leader must absorb pressure, protect the team, and guide with integrity. When you lead with humility, people trust you. When you lead with vision, people follow you. And when you lead with compassion, people grow. I want you to develop a habit of continuous learning. The world is changing rapidly, and static knowledge becomes outdated quickly. Read books, observe people, ask questions, and remain curious. Learning keeps your mind young and adaptable. It is the fuel for innovation and the shield against irrelevance. Never underestimate the power of kind words. Encouragement can ignite confidence in someone who is about to give up. Giving does not always mean money or resources. Sometimes it means attention, patience, or understanding. When you make someone's life lighter, you elevate your own spirit. A conflict-free world begins with individuals who choose kindness over ego. Your dream must be strong enough to survive criticism. Not everyone will understand your vision. Some may doubt you. Some may discourage you. Do not argue with them. Let your work speak. Progress is the most convincing answer to doubt. Protect your dream quietly and nurture it daily. There is a battle you must be prepared to fight, and it is the hardest battle any human being can face. It is the battle against self-doubt. This battle does not end quickly. It requires patience, courage, and persistence. You must keep fighting until you arrive at your destined place, not defined by others, but chosen by you. As you listen to these words, I want you to imagine the future you desire, not just the job or the title, but the kind of person you want to become. Visualize your values, your contribution, and your impact. When imagination is combined with effort, it becomes a powerful force. The universe responds to inspired action. You are living in a time of immense possibility. Science, technology, medicine, art, and education are evolving rapidly. The world does not need more followers. It needs thinkers, creators, and compassionate innovators. You are not too young to contribute. You are not too small to matter. Your responsibility is not to imitate, but to innovate in your own way. Remember that always. Your life is not a competition. It is a journey of growth. Measure progress not by how you compare to others, but by how much you have learned, improved, and contributed. When you align your actions with your values, success becomes meaningful. If at any point you feel tired, pause but do not quit. Rest renews strength. Quitting erases possibility. Your future is shaped by the choices you make when no one is watching. Choose discipline. Choose curiosity. Choose courage. As your journey continues, you will begin to realize that innovation is not a single moment of brilliance, but a lifelong attitude. It is the habit of asking deeper questions, of refusing to accept limitation without examination, and of believing that improvement is always possible. Innovation begins the moment you decide that your life will not be driven by fear, but by purpose. Purpose gives direction to effort, and effort gives shape to dreams. Many students worry that they are not intelligent enough, not confident enough, or not talented enough. These worries arise from comparison, not truth. Intelligence grows when it is exercised. Confidence develops when you keep promises to yourself. Talent expands when it is practiced with patience. No one begins fully formed. Growth is gradual, often invisible, but always happening when effort is sincere. In my life, I learned that time is the most democratic resource. Every person receives the same 24 hours each day. What separates individuals is not how much time they have, but how they use it. When you respect time, time rewards you. When you waste time, time quietly moves on without you. Develop the habit of planning your day with intention. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results. There will be moments when your efforts go unnoticed. You may work hard and still feel unseen. Do not let this discourage you. The roots of a tree grow deep underground before the branches appear above the surface. Growth happens silently before it becomes visible. Trust the process and remain committed even when recognition is delayed. One of the greatest dangers to innovation is comfort. Comfort makes you settle. It makes you repeat what is familiar. Growth, however, exists just beyond comfort. When you challenge yourself, when you step into unfamiliar territory, your mind expands. Do not fear discomfort. Welcome it as a sign that you are evolving. I want you to understand that success is not the absence of problems, but the ability to face them with calmness and clarity. Problems are not interruptions to your journey. They are part of the journey. Each problem you solve strengthens your confidence and sharpens your skills. Over time, you begin to trust yourself more. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Humility is an essential companion to knowledge. The more you learn, the more you realize how much there is to learn. This awareness keeps arrogance away and curiosity alive. A humble mind remains open. An open mind continues to grow. When you combine knowledge with humility, wisdom emerges. I have always believed that science and spirituality are not opposites. They complement each other. Science teaches you how the world works. Spirituality teaches you how to live in the world. Together, they create balance. Innovation guided by values leads to sustainable progress. Innovation without values leads to imbalance. You may wonder how to remain motivated when progress is slow. Motivation fluctuates, but discipline remains. Do not rely on motivation alone. Build routines that carry you forward even on difficult days. On days when you feel inspired, work harder. On days when you feel tired, work anyway, even if it is a little. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. As you grow, you will encounter failure in different forms. Academic failure, professional setbacks, personal disappointments. Do not internalize these experiences as proof of inadequacy. They are lessons, not labels. Learn from them, adjust your approach, and continue forward. Resilience is not about avoiding falls. It is about rising each time you fall. I want to speak to those of you who feel invisible, who feel that your voice does not matter. Your voice matters. Your ideas matter. Your effort matters. History is shaped not only by loud voices, but by persistent ones. Speak when necessary, listen always, and act consistently. Innovation also requires collaboration. No meaningful achievement is accomplished alone. Learn to work with others, to respect diverse perspectives, and to build together. When minds connect, ideas multiply. Cooperation amplifies creativity. As a nation, our greatest strength lies in our youth. Your energy, curiosity, and idealism are powerful forces, but power without direction can be wasted. Channel your energy toward constructive goals. Use your skills not only for personal gain, but for collective progress. Nation building begins with responsible individuals. I want you to imagine an India where young minds are confident, ethical, and innovative. An India where knowledge is valued, where integrity is honored, and where dreams are nurtured. This vision is not unrealistic. It begins with you. Each disciplined choice you make contributes to this future. Never allow fear to decide your path. Fear is a natural emotion, but it should not be your leader. Courage does not mean absence of fear. It means moving forward, despite fear. Each time you act courageously, fear loses its control over you. As you stand at the threshold of your future, remember that greatness is not a destination, it is a direction. Choose a direction guided by values, effort, and compassion. Walk steadily, learn continuously, and serve selflessly. There will come a stage in your life when you begin to question your own worth. You may look at others who seem more successful, more confident, or more certain, and you may quietly wonder if you are falling behind. In those moments, I want you to remember that life is not a race where everyone must reach the same checkpoint at the same time. Life is a process of becoming. Some people bloom early, some later, but each has a season. Trust your season. One of the most important lessons innovation teaches you is patience. Breakthroughs rarely happen overnight. Behind every visible success lie countless unseen hours of preparation, failure, correction, and persistence. If you only admire outcomes and ignore processes, you will feel discouraged. Learn to respect the process. Progress may be slow, but slow progress is still progress. I want to speak to you about courage of conviction. Many young people silence their ideas because they fear being judged. They fear being wrong. But no idea ever changed the world without first being questioned. If you believe in something deeply, study it, refine it, and stand by it with humility. Confidence rooted in preparation is far stronger than confidence rooted in ego. In your pursuit of innovation, do not neglect your character. Skills can get you opportunities, but character sustains them. Honesty, discipline, and responsibility are not outdated values. They are timeless strengths. When you build your life on strong values, you can withstand pressure without losing direction. I have always lived a life of simplicity because it keeps the mind uncluttered. When your mind is free from unnecessary desires, it focuses naturally on what truly matters. Simplicity allows you to listen better, think deeper, and act more consciously. Innovation flourishes in a calm mind. Many young people ask how to stay focused in a world full of distractions. Focus is not about doing many things at once. It is about doing one thing with full attention. Train yourself to complete what you start. Every completed task builds confidence. Every unfinished task weakens it. Discipline is strengthened through completion. At some point, you will be given responsibility, either for a project, a team, or even a family. Responsibility is not a burden. It is trust. When you accept responsibility willingly, you grow faster. Leadership emerges naturally from responsibility accepted with sincerity. I want you to understand that learning does not end with formal education. Degrees certify knowledge, but life tests wisdom. Observe people, learn from their choices. Reflect on your own experiences. Wisdom develops when learning is combined with reflection. You may feel pressure to succeed quickly, to prove yourself early, but meaningful success takes time. Do not rush your growth. Strength developed slowly lasts longer. Depth achieved patiently creates lasting impact. As you continue forward, you will notice that your mindset shapes your reality. When you believe challenges are opportunities, you respond differently. When you believe you are capable of growth, you persist longer. Your thoughts influence your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. Innovation also requires ethical responsibility. What you create should uplift humanity, not harm it. Always ask whether your work contributes to a better world. Progress without ethics is incomplete. I want to speak directly to your heart now. You matter. Your life has purpose beyond personal achievement. You are part of something larger than yourself. When you align your talents with service, fulfillment naturally follows. Every generation is given a responsibility. Your generation's responsibility is to use knowledge wisely, technology ethically, and freedom responsibly. You are not powerless. You are prepared by history, supported by knowledge, and capable of shaping the future. Do not underestimate the impact of your daily choices. The future is not built in grand moments alone. It is built in small decisions made consistently. Choose effort over excuses. Choose growth over comfort. Choose integrity over convenience. As you move closer to your dreams, remain grounded. Success should make you humble, not distant. Stay connected to people, listen more than you speak. Serve without expecting recognition. Remember that innovation is not about being extraordinary all the time. It is about being sincere every day. When sincerity guides your actions, excellence follows naturally. Now I want to slow down and speak to you in a very practical way, because inspiration without application fades quickly. Innovation and success are not built only on emotion. They are built on daily habits and conscious choices. If you truly want to shape a meaningful future, there are certain principles you must practice consistently, not occasionally, not when it is convenient, but as a way of life. First, learn to manage failure before you try to manage success. Failure is inevitable when you attempt anything worthwhile. Do not personalize it. Analyze it calmly, extract the lesson, and move forward with improved understanding. Ask yourself what went wrong, what you can control, and what you will do differently next time. This habit alone will save you years of frustration. Second, cultivate the discipline of continuous learning. Make learning a daily ritual, even if it is for a short time. Read thoughtfully, observe carefully, and question deeply. Learning is not limited to textbooks. Life itself is a teacher if you are attentive. When you stop learning, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, innovation disappears. Third, train your imagination with purpose. Do not let your imagination wander aimlessly. Visualize outcomes clearly. See yourself solving problems, contributing value, and overcoming obstacles. Imagination becomes powerful when it is guided by attention and followed by effort. What you repeatedly imagine begins to influence what you believe is possible. Fourth, practice disciplined effort. Work even when motivation is low. Excellence is not created by occasional bursts of energy, but by steady, patient effort. Break your goals into manageable steps and focus on completing them one by one. Small actions done consistently create results that surprise you over time. Fifth, build emotional resilience. Life will test you in ways you cannot predict. There will be disappointments, delays, and doubts. Do not allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent decisions. Learn to pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Emotional maturity is a silent strength. Sixth, live with integrity in small things. Integrity is not tested only in major decisions. It is tested in everyday choices, in honesty when it is inconvenient, in responsibility when no one is watching. When your actions align with your values, you develop inner strength that no external approval can replace. Seventh, value simplicity and focus. Reduce unnecessary distractions. Be mindful of how you spend your time and energy. When you simplify your life, your priorities become clearer. Focus allows your best abilities to surface. Eighth, practice empathy and service. Innovation that ignores human needs loses its soul. Always ask how your work can reduce suffering, improve lives, or create opportunity. Service connects you to something larger than yourself and gives meaning to your efforts. Ninth, surround yourself with positive influence. Choose companions who encourage growth, honesty, and discipline. The people around you shape your thinking more than you realize. Seek environments that challenge you to become better, not comfortable. 10th, reflect regularly. Take time to review your actions, your progress, and your intention. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without reflection, even the most intense experiences lose their value. If you begin to practice these principles sincerely, you will notice a quiet transformation within yourself. Your confidence will no longer depend on external validation. Your direction will become clearer. Your effort will feel meaningful even when results are delayed. This is the foundation upon which lasting innovation is built. As you apply these lessons, there will be moments when you feel tired, when the journey feels long. In those moments, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself that you are not just working for a job or a title, but for the kind of life you want to live and the kind of impact you want to make. The future does not belong to those who wait for perfect conditions. It belongs to those who prepare themselves daily, quietly, and sincerely. You do not need to be extraordinary today. You need to be committed today. Extraordinary outcomes are born from ordinary days lived with discipline and purpose. As you stand at this stage of your life with questions in your heart and possibility before you, I want you to understand the deeper meaning of responsibility. You are not only responsible for your own future, but also for the environment you shape around you. Every thought you nurture, every habit you practice, and every decision you make contributes quietly to the society you live in. Nation building does not begin with policies or positions of power. It begins with young minds choosing discipline over distraction and purpose over passivity. There will be moments when you feel that your individual effort does not matter in a world filled with complexity and conflict. Do not believe that thought. History is shaped by individuals who refuse to underestimate their influence. When one mind becomes disciplined, ethical, and innovative, it inspires others without effort. Change spreads silently before it becomes visible. I want you to imagine a future where young people are not afraid of hard work, where integrity is admired more than shortcuts, where knowledge is pursued with curiosity rather than fear. Imagine classrooms filled with questioning minds, laboratories driven by purpose, and workplaces guided by ethics. This future is not a distant dream. It is a responsibility placed gently on your shoulders. Each generation receives a challenge. Your generation's challenge is not lack of opportunity, but lack of direction. You have access to information, technology, and global platforms like no generation before you. What will define you is how responsibly you use these resources. Knowledge without wisdom creates noise. Knowledge guided by values creates progress. You must decide what kind of citizen you want to be. Not just productive, but principled. Not just successful, but sincere. When personal ambition is aligned with national progress, a powerful force is created. Your success then becomes meaningful, not only to you, but to many others. Never forget that fear is the greatest obstacle to innovation. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being different. These fears shrink your vision and limit your action. Courage expands both. Courage does not always roar. Sometimes it is a quiet decision to keep going when giving up feels easier. I want you to feel a sense of responsibility, not pressure. Responsibility is empowering. It tells you that your actions matter. It tells you that your effort counts. It tells you that you are trusted with the future. As you move forward, carry humility with confidence. Let your achievements speak softly. Let your values speak loudly. Remain a student of life, even when you become a teacher to others. Now, pause for a moment and look within yourself. Ask yourself what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. Not in terms of wealth or recognition, but in terms of impact. Did you live with courage? Did you think independently? Did you serve sincerely? These questions will guide you when answers are unclear. Your journey will not always be easy, but it will always be meaningful if you walk it with honesty and effort. You are capable of more than you currently believe. Your potential is not limited by your past or your circumstances. It is shaped by your choices starting now. As I leave you with these thoughts, remember that innovation begins the day you stop fearing failure and start trusting your ability to learn. Walk forward with confidence, discipline, and compassion. If these words have guided you, share them with another student who may need direction, support, or hope, and continue this journey of learning together.